It's being recorded, so the one who has asked the question can look at the recording later on. Now, my question is, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. That's what we read yesterday in the synthesis class. Gita is saying that I am the one who looks after everybody's welfare. Now, the question was, suppose I make a prayer and a demand for God. Okay, does He always satisfy it? That is the question. So, now, what does He mean by I am always looking to the prosperity of everybody? What does He mean by that? So, first of all, suppose you ask God for something. Is He going to always fulfill it? 90% of the time, if it is unreasonable, He won't. No? So that's the whole question. So suppose I ask for 1 lakh of rupees. Okay, is He going to give it to me? Which part of you is asking? So we have to have clarity on the issue. You have a soul, you have a body, and you have a vital, and you have a mind. So which part of you is asking for this? Okay. Normally, when we are not even conscious of our soul, it is the vital or the mind that is asking, isn't it? So, does the divine always satisfy that? Now, that is the question. But there is one thing which is 100% sure, that the good of the soul, the prosperity and for the growth of the soul, the divine will always satisfy the need of the soul. But does He satisfy the need of our vital, our body and our mind? That is the question. So obviously, if He has to see only to the good of the soul, your desire may not be in the interest of the good of the soul. So He may not, but suppose your desire in the vital is going to help the growth of the soul, then He may give it to you. And that giving, remember, it can be something pleasant, it can be something unpleasant also. Kiran, good morning. I'll advise you, I am discussing Yoga Kshemam, okay?
Okay.
I will advise you to see the recording from the beginning, because I started.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes.
do that, okay?
Yes,
So,
yes.
the human being is made up of many members. There is a body, there is a vital, there is a mind, and there is a soul. So it's not just one thing. We are not conscious of the soul, and we confuse our life, body, mind, life. We think it is one thing. It is not one thing. It is 3 different things. So when you make a prayer to the divine, which part of you is asking the divine? That's the whole question. So, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam means the divine is always supporting and satisfying the need of the desire. The need of the soul. The desire of the soul. Your aspiration is always supported by the divine. That is meant by Yoga Kshemam. But does He always sometimes also satisfy your vital demand or your mental demand? If it is in line and if it is beneficial to the soul, what you are asking, certainly He will do that. Okay? Certainly He will do that. But there are consequences. Okay? There is a very interesting, which part of it is asking the prayer? That is the whole question. There is that famous Hindi bhajan, okay? Namange sona chandi, mange darshan devi teri. Okay? Dwar khada hai yogi. This is the song. So what are you asking for? It is na mange sona chandi is exactly from the soul. But mange sona chandi will come from your vital and your mind also. So that He may not satisfy, but that also He will satisfy if it is going to help the growth of the soul. And no, mind you, this Yoga Kshemam will give you what you want, or sometimes what will be unpleasant and pleasant also. So He may give you some pleasant things. But if the growth of the soul is helped by tragedy or unpleasant things, that also He will give you. Okay? So note, this is the question. So now I think there should be clarity on the issue that the divine is always supporting the claim of the soul, but not necessarily of the vital mind and body. Okay, so it depends
Yeah,
on what you're
Ranga-
asking. Tell me.
yeah, Rangata, one thing I wanted to tell you that in Jainism, we say that when divine has left, you are demanding from the divine what they have left. They have left the prosperity, they have left everything, all the sansar, this physical things, all they left, materialistic, they come out of it. And you demand from to them what they have left. You ask to them what they have and at present.
That's the same thing put in different words. Yeah, it's an interesting thing what you're saying. Now, the question is the the divine is always, as I said, supporting the soul, but that we are not conscious of. So, when we become conscious of it, and this is a growing, it's not a very simple thing, it's a growing matter. There is another thing also. Suppose the soul is asking for liberation. Will he grant you immediately? No, because it is subject to the conditions in the world and your own individual condition. I want liberation. I am asking the divine. Is he going to give it to me? He will certainly give it to me. But am I capable of receiving that? That's the whole question. Can a 5-year-old child want to be a space engineer? Not possible. He has to prepare himself. Exactly in the same way in the spiritual life also, you have to prepare yourself to receive what the divine is giving you. Okay? So this is the whole issue.
So
Depends that of
the
your,
Rangada,
yes, tell me.
by soul you mean the psychic being, no?
Yes,
The
psychic being.
soul is, I mean, it doesn't develop, but the psychic being which develops.
That's right. That's right. But Sremda very interestingly uses the word central being. And when he uses the word central being, it can be the psychic being as well as the self. Because sometimes if you are sufficiently developed, the self will be guiding you and you may get your guidance through the mind, which is the most enlightened part of you. You may get suggestions. So it is normally that what Pallavi is saying is right, it is a psychic being. The development of the psychic being. Okay, how developed it is. Okay. So that's the answer to the question, what is this yoga kshema? Okay. If it raises other questions, then we look at it, but otherwise it depends on what you're asking. But does he sometimes at least does, if the vital demand for something is there, okay, will he satisfy it? He will satisfy even that vital desire if it is going to help the development of the soul. If it is not going to development of the soul, why should I give you something harmful? He won't. Okay. So this is the issue. Now there is a very interesting case about prayer. Okay. Somebody had asked Ramdo also about prayer. Is it always granted? So normally a prayer is ignorant because coming from us, what we lack, we want. So we ask ignorantly. But sometimes if it is sincere, it does um, become successful. So Ramdo has mentioned one very interesting case about I think it was a Mughal empire. I don't remember exactly, but the father or somebody was dying, and the son. I'm not sure about the details, but the essence is correct. Okay, he prayed to God so that he's maybe saved. Okay, and Srinath mentioned this incident, and the prayer was granted because it was perfectly okay with everybody else's and the conditions in the world allowed it. But sometimes they won't allow it. Okay, so the divine won't allow something which will be harmful to everybody. But he has to also, now note interestingly, my prayer will be something and somebody else's prayer will be the opposite. So what's he going to do now? He will see to the benefit of everybody, how much it will be, and that is the result. Okay, it's like a you you know um, suppose you shoot an arrow, okay, it goes straight, okay, but suppose you shoot an arrow with two different angles, okay, one here and one there. There is an average that will take place. The average will go, suppose you have two divergent lines and the arrow is shot like that, it will give the average of that. So the divine takes into account everybody's prayers and then takes the necessary steps. But never does the divine give you anything that harms you. It may harm the body and mind, but not the soul. And harm means, what I mean to say is that it can be unpleasant to you. The unpleasantness, and you may wonder why the hell is divine doing this. Now, this also brings up the question of another very interesting example of Sri Ranga himself. Okay? And he had mentioned this in the Uttarpada speech. So this you will see. Sri Ranga is fighting for India's freedom. He is thinking that he is fighting for India's freedom. He is not anything selfish. It is for the divine that he is doing this. It's for the country that he is doing this. Okay? So then what happens? He is suddenly put into jail. And then he asks the divine, he asks actually Krishna, why have you done this to me? I was doing such a good work and you have put me into prison. In other words, he was praying for his work in the physical world, but the divine had other plans for him. Okay? So he put him into jail and made him lose that work that he was doing. So it was unpleasant for Sri Ranga in the beginning, and he was wondering why he has done that. But then he reveals that I have broken the attachments and chains that you were unable to break, and I have put you into prison exactly for that. I have broken the chains that you were unable to break. Something unpleasant in the beginning, but most pleasant afterwards. Okay? So these attachments, sometimes the divine may do something which is not very pleasant to you, but it will be for your benefit. Okay, that's the whole point. So you must be very clear on the issue of what is meant by yoga kshemam. Okay, it is always the yoga kshema is for the soul, not necessarily for the body mind life. Okay. So if any other questions come up, we can discuss it. But this is the essence of the matter. Yoga kshemam. It's not that whatever you ask for the divine, God, I want this, I want that. If it is not for your benefit of the soul, you won't get it. But sometimes, as I said, He will grant it if it is beneficial to the soul, even something unpleasant. Okay, consequences may be there for the body, mind, life. Unpleasant consequences may be there, but it will benefit the soul. We all know that pain. In fact, he has discussed that in the Life Divine chapters also. Huh? Sometimes pain is the one that prods you to progress. So pain can be very beneficial to the soul. Okay, so that was the issue that came up. And I started thinking about it, and this is what I have to share with you. So we'll start now the process of avatar. We have to read it. So, have we read it already?
Ranganath, we have to read a paragraph, but it is to assist.
Yes,
we have already started the chapter.
We have.
You have to read
Oh, so third paragraph. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but it is to assist. Yeah.
But it is to assist. Oh, okay, fine. So, who will read? Any one of you can read. Pallavi, you can read. You have the text.
Yes, Ranganath.
Okay, read the para.
But if Archanadi can read, because she hardly reads, she goes to
Yeah.
nursing home, no? I mean dispensary.
Dispensary, yes. Does she have the text? Archanadi, do you have the text?
Yes, Rangada.
Okay, go ahead. I sometimes ask others because
Often it happens that I
every time it is you.
Yes, absolutely, Rangada. I agree. Pallavi, you may read it.
Pardon?
You may read it, Pallavi.
Okay, Archanadi.
All right, let's see. But
But
Archanadi's
it
reading
is
is very good. Okay, go ahead, Pallavi.
But it is to assist that ascent or evolution, the descent is made or accepted, that the Gita makes very clear. It is, we might say, to exemplify the possibility of the divine manifest in the human being, so that man may see what that is and take courage to grow into it. It is also to leave the influence of the manifestation vibrating in the earth nature and the soul of that manifestation presiding over its upward endeavor. It is to give a spiritual mold of divine manhood into which the seeking soul of the human being can cast itself. It is to give a dharma, a religion, not a mere creed, but a method of inner and outer living, a way, a rule, and law of self molding by which he can grow towards divinity. It is too, since this growth, this ascent, is no mere isolated and individual phenomenon, but like all in the divine work activities, a collective business, a work and the work for the race, to assist the human march, to hold it together in its great crisis, to break the forces of the downward gravitation when they grow too insistent, to uphold or restore the great dharma of the Godward law in man's nature, to prepare even however far off the kingdom of God, the victory of the seekers of light and perfection, sadhunam, and the overthrow of those who fight for the continuance of the evil and the darkness. All these are recognized objects of the descent of the avatar, and it is usually by his work that the mass of men seek to distinguish him, and for that they are ready to worship him. It is only the spiritual who see that this external avatarhood is a sign, in the symbol of a human life, of the eternal inner Godhead making himself manifest in the field of their own human mentality and corporeality so that they can grow into unity with that and be possessed by it. The divine manifestation of a Christ, Krishna, Buddha in external humanity has for its inner truth the same manifestation of the eternal avatar within in our own inner humanity. That which has been done in the outer human life of earth may be repeated in the inner life of all human beings.
Big para, almost a page. Okay, it's interesting. So we must remember the process of avatarhood and what is the purpose of avatarhood. He is discussing that. In the previous para, he has told you that the divine descending into a human body is in two ways. One is you are not, the individual human being is not conscious of the divine in himself. That's an ordinary descent. It's an avatar. The avataran, okay, if you want the descent, okay. But in the avatar, it is absolutely conscious. Maybe not in the beginning, but afterwards it is conscious that the divine is guiding you and completely taking over your body, mind, life. That's a difference. Now, in this para, he is telling you, here also in the end, there is a hint of that it is the eternal avatar when he is talking about in the last para, the last but one sentence, the eternal avatar within, in our own inner humanity is the individual divine in everybody, the eternal avatar. Because the avatar, as we normally understand, is not eternal. It keeps coming and going. But the eternal avatar is a cyclic being. Okay, so I go to each sentence now. But it is to assist that ascent or evolution, the descent is made or accepted. But it is to assist that ascent or evolution that the descent is made or accepted. Okay. Normally, we would add at that afterwards also, but in English, that's not necessary. Normally, we would say, but it is to assist that ascent and evolution that the descent is made or accepted. But it's not necessary. Okay, so that the Gita makes very clear. Which one? The ascent. The ascent of what? The ascent of the individual as well as the ascent of universal evolution. Okay? Both are going up. Both are all the time. This is those way of looking at things. What is valid for the individual is also there in the universe. It must be there also for the collectivity, for the universe. Okay, sir. It is, second sentence, it is, we might say, to exemplify the possibility of the divine manifest in the human being, to make an example of it. The possibility of a divine manifest in human being, so that man may see what that is and take courage to grow into it. Normally, there are many people who think themselves incapable of even doing something physical. Oh, I can't do that. And when it comes to spiritual life, oh my God, I can't do that. I'm so full of so many impurities. Just 1 minute, I'm getting a phone call. I'll just answer the phone and come back. Pavitra, I will talk to you later. I'm in a class, okay? No, I didn't follow. No. Yeah, I'll talk to you later after 1 hour. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, we were discussing this thing, the descent. Okay. So, the divine is always assessing and the avatarhood is meant for that. So, one by one, he is listing the benefits of the avatar. Okay. So, it is, we might say, to exemplify the possibility of the divine manifest in the human being, so that man may see what that is and take courage to grow into it. When you see the divine, the avatar, and he is a human being, but he has become divine, then you also feel that, oh my God, if that is possible, then it is possible for others also. Okay. Then is a very interesting incident about Niruddha. Okay. Niruddha is telling Sri, though you are an avatar, it's possible for you to become the divine, but how can we become the divine? So Sri becomes very serious. He says that what you are saying, in other words, it amounts to saying that all my sadhana is a sham, is a pretense. Okay. And that is not true at all. The avatar is giving an example of how to, from darkness, how to go to light. And if you say that it's easy for me, then you are denying the whole possibility of avatarhood. You are saying that it's just a pretense. It's not. We have to go through very, very hardships, great hardships. Look at the hardship that all the avatars had to go through. Okay. Look at the Christ. He had to go through the ultimate difficulty. He was actually crucified. And when he was about to be crucified, his prayer from the human side was, "Oh Lord, why have thou abandoned me?" Okay. So it is not pretense at all. It's a real struggle that they have to go through. Okay. So it's a manifestation, exemplification. That's what he's saying. It is, we might say, to exemplify, to give an example that every human being can become divine. The possibility of the divine manifests in the human being, so that man may see what that is and take courage to grow into it. He becomes an example to others. Now, it is also to leave the influence of that manifestation vibrating in the earth nature and the soul of that manifestation presiding over its upward endeavor. Now, this is a very interesting sentence, and we can even have discussion on certain examples. Okay, it is to leave the influence of that manifestation vibrating in the earth nature and the soul of that manifestation presiding over its upward endeavor. Now, just see what he's saying. He's saying that the vibrations of an avatar's divine consciousness become something that changes the very earth nature. And we know that it happens. People go to Sirando's room and that room is vibrating with the presence of Sirando. Okay? And many people, when they go to the Samadhi also, they experience many things. So, this is what the vibrations are going on, and it leaves a mark in the universe, in the physical mark. Okay. Now, that's an interesting thing. Is it always possible to see or is it not possible to see the influence? Many examples are there of people who go to the Samadhi and experience different things, okay? A heightening of consciousness. Even in Srivanda's room, I saw one person who had gone to Srivanda's room and his psychic opening came, okay? He was going with me and his psychic opening came and he started crying like anything. This sorrow is psychic sorrow, huh? It's not a human sorrow, okay? So that is one possibility. Now look at the other possibility. Even in the physical world, okay, sometimes it happens. Very good examples are two. I'll give you two examples. One is when Raman Maharshi left his body, okay, there is a physical phenomena that took place. Okay, a huge shooting star, a long time went through the sky. Okay, from the south to the north, it just traveled like that for a long time. Mother was in the playground. She looked up, and she saw the shooting star, and she said, "A great soul has passed away." She could immediately sense the significance of that shooting star. Okay, it was noted by everybody. So that is one example, that even in the physical world where vibrations are there. It is also well known that when we go to Varanasi, okay, there has been so much of sadhana done there that there is a different atmosphere there. Mother has accepted that in the agenda. Okay, it does live in the physical world itself. It lives. That's exactly what he's saying. It is also. I'm reading the sentence. It is also to leave the influence of that manifestation vibrating in the earth nature and the soul of that manifestation presiding over its upward endeavor. About mother's passing away also, I know of two cases. Okay, there was one case who was absolutely a materialist, but he absolutely changed. He was looking at that day when mother passed away, he was looking at mother's picture and he was a materialist. Okay, I knew him personally. He has passed away now. His whole life changed after that. So imagine how much. And another person also, okay, the whole that mother's passing away left this tremendous influence in the physical world, and there is a big change in someone's life. Okay, so this is what I mean by leaving the influence and vibrating in the earth nature. Earth nature, huh? Earth nature, the physical consciousness of the earth nature. This is the first thing. The possibility of the, so first is that the avatar gives an example to others too. That is the purpose of avatarhood. First, you give an example to others to how to live life. Second, it is to leave a divine vibration in the physical world so that it can help everybody. Then, it is to give a spiritual mold of divine manhood into which the seeking soul of the human being can cast itself. So that's another thing. The spiritual mold, okay? Now that's a very interesting thing what Srimri is saying. You look at the way the divine is, the avatar is working, and you get lessons from that, okay? And that is how you mold yourself into that same type of image. But mind you here, it is not the physical that you must follow. It's not that physical you must imitate. It's the way that life is lived that you have to imitate. You have to try and imitate. Okay. Sometimes people make a mistake. They say, "Oh, mother didn't like this, so we want to." Are you in a condition of mother's condition consciousness? So, mother did not like milk, for instance. Okay, so I also won't drink milk. There are people who do this sort of logic. It's absolutely wrong because she herself gave a huge amount of milk in the dining hall for everybody. The standard set was 3/4 of a liter per day per individual. That was the standard. So she herself didn't like, but that doesn't mean that she will. So you must not imitate the physical aspects of the avatar, but you must try to understand the way they live, the way of living. Okay, so that's a mold that we're talking about. It is to give a spiritual mold, not a physical mold. The spiritual mold of divine manhood into which the seeking soul of the human being can cast itself. Look at the image. There's a mold and you do casting. So the two words again give you an image. Okay. So some of those images are always hidden in the text. You have to bring that out. Okay. So, the image is very simple. You have a mold made normally of clay, and you pour molten metal into it so that it takes the shape of that mold. Okay. So exactly your nature you have to pour into the divine mold so that your nature becomes like that of the divine. That's the image that he is giving. Now the third advantage. First advantage, example to others. Second example, second law of the avatarhood leaves a physical vibration in the earth, which will help others. Next, it is to give a dharma, a religion, not a mere creed, but a method of inner and outer living. Okay? Same way now including even outer living also here. Not a mere creed, not belief, just a belief. It has to be a method of inner and outer living, a way, a rule and law of self-molding by which he can grow towards divinity. And there's a little bit of an overlap here about the example. Okay, you see the example and you follow the dharma. But he is using the word here, dharma, religion. Those who are not religiously inclined, but when they see this, there's admiration and they feel that the work will definitely be affected. Their life will be affected. It is sense to this growth. Now the next one. It is too, since this growth, this ascent is no mere isolated and individual phenomena, but like all in the divine world activities, a collective business, a work and the work for the race to assist the human march, to hold it together in its great crisis, okay? To break the forces of the downward gravitation when they grow too insistent, to uphold or restore the great dharma of the Godward law in man's nature, to prepare even, however far off, the kingdom of God, the victory of the seekers of light and perfection, sadhunam, and the overthrow of those who fight for the continuance of the evil and the darkness. So, sadhunam, paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya duskritam. That's what he's saying here. So, isn't it interesting that one of the worst crises of human history, the phenomenon of the Hitler phenomenon in Germany, he wanted to conquer the whole world and he almost conquered more than half of Europe. But at that time, what happened? The avatar came, the divine. And Sri Aurobindo's whole life after 1939 was just nothing but that. His whole concentration was on defeating the Nazi powers. And also Japan also joined in, okay? The Axis powers. So his whole work was concentrated on that, okay? So this is exactly a very good example of the Vinashaya Dushkritam. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Next, we come to the next one. All these are recognized objects of the descent of the avatar. It is usually by his work that the mass of men seek to distinguish him, and for that they are ready to worship him. Now, this is also very interesting. Several prose, he often uses words like that. That he is repeating the word that. It's not a mistake, it's his style. Very often he repeats words, but it makes tremendous amount of sense. When he uses the word is, and what exists is like this, okay? What that was is like this, okay? If you say, you are repeating the word is, but here also you are repeating. It's his style, nobody does that. Okay? One of the characteristics of his style. So what's he saying? He's saying all these are recognized objects of the descent of the avatar, and it is usually by his work that the mass of men seek to distinguish him. And for that they are ready to worship him because of his work that he is doing. It's only the spiritual who see that his external avatarhood is a sign, in the symbol of a human life, of the eternal inner Godhead making himself manifest in the field of their own human mentality and corporeality. Body, human body, with a mind and a body, so that they can grow into unity with that and be possessed by it. The divine manifestation of a Christ, Krishna, Buddha, in external humanity has for its inner truth the same manifestations of the eternal avatar within, in our own inner humanity. So, avatarhood is of two types. Okay. The psychic being entering into the human body and the physical avatar. Okay. There is a spiritual avatar within us, and the physical avatar is giving an example of how to live life. That which has been done in the outer human life of earth may be repeated in the inner life of all human beings. That which has been done in the outer human life of earth, the descent of the avatar, the physical avatar, may be repeated in the inner life of all human beings. So, in other words, to make a resume of what he is saying, okay, the first is the purpose of avatarhood is to give an example to man so that he can emulate that nature. Number two, leave divine vibrations in Earth's atmosphere. Number three, give a method of ascent into divine status, how to live life. Number four, take forward the human evolution. Okay? Not only the individual, but even the human evolution. Then the next one, Loka Sangrahanartham, maintaining the action of the divine in the physical world. And finally, preparing the kingdom of God within and without, in the human nature as well as in the physical world. That is what they have done here by creating the Auroville and also the ashram. Physically, they are trying to take the evolution forward through these two examples. Okay, this is what he's saying in the para. Now, in the next one, this is what we have to do next time. The chapter is the process of avatarhood. So, Chirando's next paragraph starts with this sentence. This is the object of the incarnation. We have read the object. But what is the method? How does the avatar operate? What is the process of avatarhood? That we'll see next time. Okay? So, Au revoir, everybody. Have a nice.
Au revoir. Bonne journée, Ranganath. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Ranganath.